say you have the right mind and you've kind of accepted the realities of your life and you've taken it on and you're maybe living that in a honorable way, a noble way, and you've accepted everything that life has for you, whether it's burdensome or not. Tie that into also the chock-a-block schedule. I mean, I can speak for myself. I have the bad habit of filling my calendar more than it needs to. But what I guess I'd like you to speak to is maybe what is the value in having space, the value in having no filled time, and what can arise in a man in that time when there's unscheduled time. So stillness, space, you name it.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, these are some of the most important qualities that are talked about in the wisdom traditions. In the 16th century, I believe it was, there was a wise Kabbalistic teacher, Isaac Luria, who talked about something he called Zimzum, if I'll get it right here. But it's a very interesting little metaphor for how the divine works. He had this idea of the divine being spread out all over existence and then contracting into a small central force of energy, resulting in a huge space all around that central force of energy. And the result being that the space is then filled up with everything. And in his cosmology, it was that the space is now filled up with all the elements of the entire universe, right? So it's very interesting that existence arises from nothingness. There's even that saying in the Latin expression, ex nihilo, something from nothing, which is a religious doctrine, a Christian doctrine for sure, but it actually it's applicable in terms of our psychology, how things work, that from the space of the vastness of the quiet mind arises the most creative and powerful thoughts. There's an old saying that even the wise ones don't know what thought is coming next, right? So wisdom doesn't mean you have an understanding of the future. It means you have an understanding of a relationship with your mind in the present moment. And that's also the essence of meditation, right? Meditation is being able to witness the mind's thoughts as they move across the sky of consciousness, where the consciousness is the ground of existence, the open sky, and the clouds moving in and out of that sky are the thoughts that come and go. So as we often say, the awakening of your mind is not itself an experience, because experiences come and go, right? It's a state of being. And that state of being is realized through the space and then the silence. This is also, of course, one of our codes, what it is to hold space for another person, right? And this is directly related to what we're talking about here, the power of the silence. Silentiamorum, the Latin expression, silence is golden, for a reason, right? Because through silence, tremendous things arise. Inspiration tends to come in those moments where we're paying attention to the gap between two thoughts. What's happening in the gap between two thoughts, the unknown, the mystery of the unknown then arises. But also in your ability to just be there for other people, like the simple method from in counseling of reality pacing, to enter another person's reality field without making them wrong for it, without imposing your own reality onto theirs, without wanting to alter it in accordance with your reality, is a type of holding space, right? It is a type of inner silence that's cultivated where you're truly present with another person. But more importantly, to be present with your own mind, in the sense of not being identified with those thoughts that are floating across the screen of your consciousness, across the sky of your consciousness. To recognize that they are just clouds moving and they're coming and they're going. All the thoughts are coming and going. And as you do that, you become more aware of the witness inside. And that's where the silence, that's where the space comes from. And that certainly translates, Matt, to your question in terms of the practicality of a man's life. Putting aside time to just be with the moment, right, is extremely important. But that doesn't mean you can't have a busy, active life. You can have a very busy, active life, provided you're in good relationship with your own mind. That means attitude. That means being mindful of the ego contractions that want to take you into negative spaces, right? When you contract inwardly by having a negative thought about something, as opposed to letting go of that contraction and going through an expansion instead, where you're opening up to space, right? Spaciousness is a extremely important quality in a lot of the wisdom traditions. It's highly esteemed and valued because of what is born in spaciousness. Right?
Yeah, actually, Ben and I were just talking in our first round of our leadership training, how you can apply that same principle to a squad, a group, a men's group. And we called it the space between. So after a man has shared, how does a group respond? Are they jumping in to try and fix him, solve the issue, give all these answers? Or is there space, silence, to see what arises? And so often when that space is given is usually when magic arises. A man will have a strong emotional experience that will arise within him, or someone will have a thought come to them that otherwise wouldn't be available if that space was filled instantaneously. So,
yeah, precisely. So it's the silence of the group, and then it's the silence of one's mind at the same time that it gives the best possible chance that when you do say something, it's going to be valuable and worthy. And some of that touches on, we were talking before about the power of the group. I think it was the Freemasons, they had the expression of the egregore, which refers to the spirit of a group. And what that means is that when you have these valuable experiences within a group, related to the ways you were talking about a moment before, Matt, when you leave the group, the spirit of the group, so to speak, goes with you. And I'm not speaking in a crudely literal way here, like some ghost that's traveling with you. I mean, the spirit, in terms of that German word Geist, or the spirit of things, the spirit of the times, or the spirit that is more of a metaphor, right? Something that you remember, right? That is of value. And so that spirit of the group travels with you when you're not around the group, and is immensely helpful, right, in your life, right? So you experience a valuable moment in a group that maybe involved silence and men holding space for you, or you holding space for other men. And then you realize, you know what, I can take that into the rest of my life as well. And I can use it in all these other situations, especially when you say, go and have a family dinner, right? As Ram Dass said, if you want to know how enlightened you are, just go and spend time with your family, right? This is some of the most difficult places to practice holding space, right?
Thanks for that, Phil. The notable piece for me in that one was just hearing your distinction between contractive silence and expansive silence, and knowing from my lived experience, like having experienced both of those, contractive silence where I'm sort of stewing and brewing and I'm lost in the to-do list and I'm consumed in a way. And then expansive silence where I'm sort of opening, listening, letting go slowly as I go deeper and deeper into it. It's a completely different experience and totally nourishing on the expansive side.
Absolutely, because the expansion is all based on letting go, right? So it's demonstrating fearlessness, whereas the contraction tends to be fear-based. I've got to contract in upon myself because it's not safe in this moment for some reason, or I need to go hide in my thoughts or a memory or something, right? Or an emotional complex that arises in that moment. I'm going to hide in there because the ego mind is telling you that's the safe place to go. Go there, because that's what it knows for survival, right? And yet what we're learning is something outside of the ego mind's domain, and that's that expansion that you referred to, Ben, which is a demonstration of fearlessness. And that's why it's so potent, because it's fear that is the primary toxic emotion, negative emotion, right?